April is Alcohol Awareness Month. It's also the month for Alcohol Screening Day. According to Statistics Canada, 1 in 5 Canadians ages 15 and up have met the criteria for an alcohol use disorder or alcohol dependence over their lifetime. And nearly 6 million Canadians ages 12 and over reported heavy drinking at least once a month. Both of these figures are clearly quite high, and the young age at which alcohol can become an issue is somewhat surprising as well. And to make matters worse, these are 2018 statistics. It's been well documented that alcohol consumption has become even more problematic during the course of the pandemic. So clearly, alcohol consumption is an issue for Canadians. In today's video, we'll look at what constitutes having an issue with alcohol and what you can do about it. So let's get started with the signs and symptoms. The first sign of having an issue with alcohol would be experiencing difficulties with limiting what you're drinking. On an extreme end, this would be drinking until intoxication every time you drink. However, if you're unable to limit yourself to a target amount each time you drink, alcohol use could still be a problem. For the second sign, there's a desire to cut down on drinking, but you've been unable to do so despite multiple attempts. Third, spending a lot of time involved with alcohol during the course of your day. This would include time spent drinking, getting alcohol, or recovering from alcohol use. The fourth sign is feeling an intense craving or urging to drink alcohol. If you feel like this doesn't impact you, but you're in the habit of having a drink each day after work or early evening, try delaying for an hour or two and see if that increases your desire to drink, or if the urge simply passes. Fifth, there's a failure to fulfill major obligations at work, school, or home due to repeated alcohol use. This will also include things like being unable to pick up your kids from an activity in the evening because you've been drinking and you don't want to drink and drive. The sixth sign involves continuing to drink alcohol even though you know it's causing physical, social, work, or relationship problems. Seventh, there's a reduction in social and work activities so you're able to drink alcohol more frequently. For the eighth sign, there's an increase in tolerance to alcohol, so you need more to feel the effect. For instance, if you used to have 2 drinks every day after work, but in the past year or two, it's now crept up to 4 to 5 drinks in order to get the same feeling from alcohol. And for the ninth and final sign, withdrawal symptoms occur when you're not drinking, such as nausea, sweating, shaking. There could also be a tendency to continue drinking to try to avoid these symptoms. So as you listen to these signs of an alcohol use disorder, the goal isn't to diagnose yourself, but rather get a better sense if you possibly have mild, moderate, or severe difficulties with alcohol. As you listen to these signs and symptoms, a specific question I encourage you to ask is alcohol use really costing me in a specific area in my daily life? If the answer is yes, it could be time to address it. To me, this is a far better approach than looking at Canada's guidelines for drinking and making decisions based on that criteria. For instance, until recently, the Canadian Centre on Substance Abuse and Addiction guidelines for alcohol consumption was that women should have no more than 2 drinks a day or exceed 10 drinks in a week. For men, the recommendation was to have no more than 3 drinks a day or 15 drinks in a week. But if you follow these guidelines and have a family history of liver issues, or the 3 drinks you have each evening prevent you from leaving the house, there's likely still a problem. Or conversely, based on the results of a recent study, the new guidelines for alcohol consumption now suggest that all adults consume no more than 2 drinks a week. Now, for the little old Italian couple who've been drinking a glass of wine with supper every day since they were old enough to drink, they probably don't need to change their supper routine just to conform to the new guidelines. So I said all that to say this. Guidelines are just that. Guidelines. So how do you know if you have an issue with alcohol? It depends. If it's costing you in an area of your life, it's probably time to address it. And if that's the case, what can you do? First, when it comes to treatment for difficulties with alcohol use, I think it's important to assess the severity of the issue, because this will likely determine the course of treatment. Ideally, the best way to do this would be to be assessed by a healthcare practitioner, as drinking can be an emotional issue, and if you rely on a self-assessment, there could be a tendency to minimize or rationalize use. But regardless of the assessment method, let's assume it's determined that alcohol is a mild to moderate issue in your daily life. First place to start is generally to attempt to contain drinking, and doing this by creating rules that need to be followed in order to be able to continue drinking and not still have it interfere with your daily life. If you're unable to consistently follow the rules you've established for a controlled drinking plan, the only option left is to abstain from alcohol. One of the main reasons that abstinence sometimes becomes necessary is because consuming alcohol can become linked to pleasure centers in the brain. And if you continue to drink, even intermittently, it strengthens the link to these pleasure centers, and increases the temptation to consume alcohol. For mild to moderate issues with drinking, joining Alcoholics Anonymous can also be beneficial, and it continues to be the most successful treatment program for alcohol use. Other successful forms of treatment include cognitive behavioral therapy, which can help you to adjust thinking patterns, as well as actions related to consuming alcohol, including coping with triggers that lead to increased drinking. Family therapy can also help the family cope with the impact of problem drinking. For severe challenges with alcohol, entering into a residential treatment program is likely the best initial course of action. By doing so, you can temporarily eliminate the option of consuming alcohol. At the same time, it creates an opportunity to focus full-time on how to abstain from alcohol in a supportive therapeutic environment. And it can also provide an opportunity to be in the process of identifying the underlying mental health issues that are contributing to excessive drinking. So I hope this video helped you to determine if alcohol use has become an issue in your daily life. If you want to learn more about the assessment or treatment of problem drinking, please contact us at Sullivan Associates Clinical Psychology. If you enjoyed this video, like it, share it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.